Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of 5 Drinks Through Midnight, Quarantine Edition. Today we're going to talk to Katie and Anthony Sheehy from Irish Whiskey Auctions. Let's log in and say hi. Anthony and Katie, thank you so much for joining us on 5 Drinks Through Midnight. 5 questions, 5 drinks. First question, or our first thing is, what are we drinking first?
We've got a Clonakilty port cask finish.
Excellent.
From the New Atlantic Distillery down there.
All right, I can go ahead and join you on that one.
Yep.
You're my first duo, so I'm really excited about this.
Well, we are a duo. We're a team, so we I suppose it's only fitting. So, to your health.
Cheers. All right. Oh, that's so good. Okay, first question. How did you get into launching the first Irish whiskey auction?
It seemed like a good idea at the time, I think is the best way to describe it. I've been collecting whiskey for years, and I'm into whiskey. We live not far from the Cooley distillery, so it was one of them things. We were living in France, we're collecting and drinking whiskey over there, took a bit of a pride in our Irish whiskey, and then we came home here and we were still collecting away. So the story that we tell and the story on the website and everything else.
It was the birth of it, really, wasn't it? The Christmas present.
Yes, that's exactly. Yeah. So we had bought Kate's dad a bottle of Sleeve na Glock, it's called. It's a whiskey made in Cooley, but it was sold abroad. And we'd bought a bottle on an auction site in Germany or the UK, and it had got seized by customs coming in here. So we were regaling that to one of the guys in Mulligan's whiskey shop in Dublin, and we were telling him about that, and he went, "It's a shame there's not an auction site in Ireland." And I went, "It is, isn't it?" And we were driving home the road, and we were just...
I could hear the hamster tin.
So I checked to see where the domains had they been used or registered. They weren't. So that very night, 21st of January 2018, a Sunday night, I set about setting up Irish whiskey auctions and thought, how hard can it be? And so it turns out it was quite difficult. So I set up till about 4 a.m. that night.
Give or take, yeah.
And nearly got divorced that night after 20 odd years together. And I just sort of set about, I initially set up all the social media and was telling everybody about this fantastic new website that was going to be created, fantastic new auction site that was going to be created, and then actually had to work out how I was going to do it. So that's when the real challenges began.
The cart was definitely way before the horse.
Yeah, true. But we're going now just over a year, 18 months actually. So it's been challenging but good.
And just the context on the season, it's a mountain in Cooley here in Ireland, and my dad was actually born on Sleeve na Glock.
Oh.
And that's why we wanted to get the whiskey as a present for him.
Oh, very nice. Did he end up getting it?
Oh, we got it, yeah. I know we definitely
after customs released it in the end, but it was more of why I set it up was more of a necessity of see if we can eliminate them sort of things. And again, knowing that there was an appetite and there is a market for it, we weren't sure of how much of an appetite, but wow, it was an appetite.
Well, I use it, so there's definitely an appetite in the States.
Getting more and more people from the States too as well, which is great. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Logistics is the biggest challenge to that, but unfortunately we're on an island, so everything has to be flown off the island, so it gets expensive.
But I mean, delivery for you guys, I mean, I've never had any problem, and I mean, granted, I'm probably the first stop from Ireland then is probably either New York or Boston, but like I've never had any problem, so it's been great. Like usually within a week after you guys send out, I have my product, so it's amazing.
We've changed it recently. I mean, there was a few changes made recently, even from our end, just getting permits and all that sort of stuff. So we've done all that, and hopefully now it should be a wee bit more streamlined, but it's still challenging.
Excellent. All right. Well, that's question one.
Cool.
Happy day.
Cheers.
To your health.
What are we drinking next?
Writer's Tears.
Perfect. Any specific one or?
We've got a cup of pot.
Excellent. So I can join you with that one as well.
That's a cracker. That is a cracker.
Oh, that's so good.
You like your pours. Jeez, you're heavy-handed with your pours.
Oh. I know in Ireland everything's an ounce, but here in America everything's 2.
Does that mean you have to drink twice as much or half as much?
I don't know. Well, probably maybe twice as much. Oh, sorry. Cheers.
Cheers to your health.
Don't you?
Right, go.
All right, on to the second question. So you kind of mentioned it a little bit in the first question, but what's your home collection like? I mean, I think for somebody who runs a whiskey auction site, like it must be really tempting just to be like, oh, this one got bought and paid for, like it's going back to the home collection. I know, and then we've talked a lot about your collection at home, but
See how sheepish he is, Tim.
It's grand. I mean, you never know. I mean, look, there's a global pandemic on at the minute, and we could have, if I hadn't set up Irish whiskey auctions, we could have ran out of whiskey if I hadn't had the collection. As a collection, all right, good. I would have, as I say, would have had a lot of loyalty to, not loyalty, just brand loyalty to Teeling and Cooley originally. So there'd be a heavy influence of Cooley whiskey casks in it. I never really got into collecting Middletons or any of them, the other ones. But predominantly it was only, I mean, I've been self-employed forever.
Yeah.
So it was always a bit of retirement.
Came back from France.
Yes, since we came back from France, valid point. We were going to, it was a bit of a retirement thing as well. Any ones that were actually being collected for collection's sake. Self-employed, you've got to put something away somehow, and I just seen whiskey as the window to that, and was aware of how they can increase in value, or how some of it was increasing in value.
But you got us shocked when we started the business, Tim, because all these packages were coming in the post. Pardon me, like I never drank whiskey until we started this business. But all the packages would be coming, and he'd be going, oh, that was such and such, and that cost so much, and yada yada, and went up into the shelf at home, which was where I had family portraits and stuff like that, and they slowly disappeared, and whiskey replaced. But that's another story. But then when we started doing this, I actually found out the real price of said whiskey coming to my house. So it's that age-old joke. Anthony's terrified if he dies, I'll sell his whiskey for what I said he paid for it.
I think a lot of husbands are in that cast, you know, the bottles of whiskey arrive, and how much did that cost? It wasn't expensive, maybe €50 or something like that. But I think now the problem is Katie's just become too aware of just the value of stuff. So actually, we've eased off in collecting. We have in fairness.
So we haven't had time
haven't
really.
had time really to be collecting and adding to the collection.
And most of our collections here, like your Teeling,
The big tailings and all that sort of stuff here, yeah, in the office.
Is there a crown jewel of the collection that, like, something that you have that is just like you're so?
We've a few. I mean, we've got I don't know. I'll show you in a second. I'll actually give you the camera, twist it around in a second. We've got some ones that are quite good. I mean, I've got a 21, 26, 30-year-old Teeling, and all three of them are signed by Jack, John, and Stephen.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
And there's only a couple of sets of them in existence, and one of them sitting here on our shelves. And then I've a full centenary set as well, and there's other stuff. I mean, as I say, my problem always was at home was if our kids are growing up. So if the kids come in from being out or something like that and decided, oh, let's have one of Daddy's whiskeys, wasn't the fact that they drink a whiskey, which is what it's meant to do. But if they drank one in the middle of a collection, then the collection shot. And I think that would annoy me more.
Yeah, because you have the Green Oars and the Kilbeggans.
Green Oars, Kilbeggans, yeah.
Sitting at home,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So
that's amazing. And then Katie, you said that you just started drinking whiskey. Is there some is there one specific that you really, really are nuts about, or is there one that top of the
Well,
list?
not the one that I'm nuts about. Like everybody else, my favorite one is the Redbreast 12.
Excellent.
Because it's so easy to drink. It really genuinely is. And I've tried like the 15 and the 21 and stuff like that, but I always go back to the Redbreast 12. But I'm still in the processes of experimenting, which is great fun.
Of course.
It's bloody brilliant, actually. And I have in the office, I've got a shelf that's beside my desk, and it's full of little miniatures. And these miniatures are ones I've bought, and guys have sent me miniatures for my collection, and like from launches and stuff like that. So I have a taste of practically everything on that shelf. So one of these days I'm just going to lose it, and I'm going to sit in the office and crack every one of them open. But no, I'm getting better at tasting whiskey and stuff like that. I'm qualified now, Tim.
Excellent.
She went and done recently just completed a WSET level 2 with spirits and spirits and whiskey training.
Yes, it's a level 2.
So
and most of those guys that's going around doing tastings and that have only a level 1.
Oh wow, okay.
So needless to say, I spent 2 days in Teelings getting bladder drunk, and then had to do a test at the end of it. Was very fun.
Yeah, that sounds like a great time. Was the test just spelled Teeling? Because after your 2 days...
Well, it was the only benefit to it was multiple choice.
Amazing. Oh, that's hilarious. I would so love... Excellent.
Right.
All right, should we move on to drink 3?
So, go on. What are we drinking? 3.
We're drinking.
All right, so our question 3, what are we drinking?
We're drinking a
Jameson
with
ginger and lime.
Excellent. I didn't have any lime, so I just went Jameson and ginger.
No bother. Lunch.
All right, on to question 3. So in the past year and a half, other than like the Middleton that you guys just had on the last auction, what's one of the craziest auctions that happened that you thought would never go as crazy as it did?
The plinth.
The plinth.
Yeah. Yeah. There's I don't know if you know there's a 5-bottle plinth that Middleton produced in late 90s, 96, 97. So it's got 5 bottles on it. It's got a Middleton 96 or 97, Redbreast, 2 Bushmills and a Jameson. I would normally have valued them about 1,000, 1,200 euros is roughly where they are.
The guys who were selling them were kind of looking at kind of price for any.
We had one in an auction and it went to 3,800. And we were genuinely sitting going, what?
And the month previous to it had a reserve of €1,000 on it. And the previous month, I think it got about 800.
Yeah, it didn't sell.
It didn't sell.
So that was one of them. I mean, and everybody was going, surely that's not real. But it literally got into a bidding war between 3 guys, an American, strangely enough, a Canadian, and a guy from Dublin. And the 3 of them, as we found out afterwards, would have fairly deep pockets. But they obviously just weren't backing down. And they just went.
A good old-fashioned piss.
And it literally was just an old-fashioned. And they went to it. We had another one recently. I don't know if you've seen the gauger stick. The customs gauge, the dipstick. A customs gauge stick for that the old customs used in the early 20th century. We had it in the previous auction. It had a reserve of 120 euros. Didn't sell. Got to about 100 euros and struggled.
Yeah, and the guy was going to sell it private.
And the guy said, sort of, look, I don't know, maybe I'll take it back. Look, give it another run in the auction. don't put any reserve on it, and we'll see where it goes. It ended up selling for €580.
Wow.
We sit most times in the auctions. I mean, the one thing we will always say, and we will always say, is that we are 100% legit. We don't interfere in the auctions. So much so in our July auction that we went on holiday. So in the 9 days that the auction is live, yes, we're monitoring it, but we're not, manipulating it in any way, shape or form. People are coming at you going, surely that's not right. And we're going, it is what it is. There's the bids. I can show you the bidding record and all that sort of stuff. But it's just some of the items just totally catch us off guard, and you just go.
The red breast glasses.
Red breast glasses. Yeah.
They're at like €85 right now.
Yeah. Yeah. The guy who gave them to us originally was trying to sell them at one stage for €20 on one of the Facebook groups. Couldn't sell them. Couldn't give them away. Gave them to us, and we're selling them at €60 and €70 a shot. And he's just going, what changed here? I don't know. So it all comes down to, I mean, the auction business is very strange, and as we're learning, it all comes down to the right place, the right time. You get two guys who just want something. And as you get more and more affluent people involved, it's not about, whether they can afford something. It's whether they want it or not.
Right.
So if they just go after something, they don't care how much it costs. They don't care, it's whether they want it or not. And I mean, ultimately, the whole Irish whiskey industry is chasing that to get premium whiskey into the States and into Asia and into Australia and stuff like that. Is that they want these people buying stuff like that, because money's not the deciding factor whether they buy it or not. It's whether you want it or not.
All right. Should we move on to question 4?
Yes.
I mean, I'm still good. I'm enjoying the hell out of this. So I don't even know what the fuck we're doing anymore. So let's just keep drinking and talking. So
What else? So we're going for the green spot, Leoville, Barton.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, you rock on. You pour. I'm too drunk.
That one?
Yes.
Excellent.
Leoville Barton.
Couldn't beat him with a stick.
It is so good.
Oh,
I don't know how many bottles of that stuff I put away. Green Spot on its own is a cracking whiskey, but that there just brings it to another level. It really does.
All right. So question 4.
Cool.
So, Anthony, I was told that you were a chef. Is that true or false?
That is truth, yes.
Excellent. So, for your guys' end of days meal, what would you have and what whiskey would you pair it with?
Ooh, that's a challenging question. What meal? I actually think it'd be something simple. We just like simple food, actually.
He's not a fussy chef.
I'm not a fussy chef by any imagination.
By
I've never been,
stretch, he's not.
I'll eat anything. I will eat anything, even if it's not long dead. I'll probably eat it. I've eaten over the years rattlesnake, rat, kangaroo, everything. What would our end of days meal be? I presume it would be something chicken. Probably be just oven baked chicken, bit of bacon, bit of cheese. It's one of just our go-to dishes, isn't it?
It is, yeah, or chicken carbonara.
Chicken carbonara, yeah, we love that as well. And the whiskey to pair with it, jeez, anything. What we're drinking now at the minute, I mean.
Oh, Jeff, yeah, the greens, yeah.
You can't pass it.
And a red breast 12 goes with everything.
Yes.
And
I haven't really, and one of the weird things of having a palate as a chef is that one, it allows you to identify the flavor profiles in whiskey more, but I've never really got into the whole pairing with it. I love it with chocolate, I love it with chili, I love what it does to the taste of the whiskey and all that sort of stuff, but I've never really sat down and sort of constructed a menu to say this will go with such and such and this will go with such and such.
I just had a brain fart. What I'll do, Tim, is I will scan and email you. I have the menu from our Redbreast tasting that we done in Waterford with Flash.
Oh, with Flash.
And it was one of these where it was Redbreast, all the Redbreast, paired with food.
Oh, okay.
And it was bloody amazing. I've never done one of these tastings where you pair the food and whiskey together. And I am not lying, it was the most amazing experience I have had since we started this whole entire journey. Like, it was amazing. So I'll scan you the actual menu and send it on to you so you can see sort of what and believe me, it all worked. Every bit of it worked, because Ger Garland sat beside me and he couldn't get over how well they all paired together.
Oh, wow.
I think with any of the pot still whiskies, with the spices of the pot still whiskies, I think they lend themselves to
Everything.
well, anything, but they lend themselves to the likes of game or stuff like that. That it really does bring out the
with the duck and the goat's
pear,
cheese.
the goats and cheese and all that sort of stuff. So the terroir that everybody's talking about now in Irish whiskey is that if you can taste the earthiness of the food, which you get in your goat's cheese or your venison or pheasant or something like that, your pot still whiskey, I think, really sits well with that. The spice just accentuates it a wee bit more. But look, I'll drink any whiskey and I'll eat any food. Look, I mean, I'm 19 and a half stone, and I like my whiskey. Jeez. Throw McDonald's in front of me with a Redbreast and fucking ham party, you know.
Nobody's judging at all. So again,
We haven't tried that yet.
No.
they're good.
I think it'd be frowned upon in Ireland if you whip out a bottle of Redbreast while you're sitting in McDonald's having your Big Mac meal. Slunch time.
Lotta.
And then I'll tell you a story about an American man who nearly slapped the shit out of him in Killarney. That was very funny. But anyhow.
All right. Question 5. What are we drinking?
We are drinking Redbreast 12.
Excellent. Cheers.
In your fabulous glasses.
Thank you. They're rose.
Slunch it, Tim.
All right. So, question 5 is a flip of the coin. You have your Whiskey Wednesday coin. You can spin it, you can flip it, you can do whatever you want. But it really comes down to the coin answers our question. So
the question is,
are me and Anthony going to get divorced?
oh, it's even.
yeah.
We know
Sorry.
that's not going to happen. So, question 5 is, I heard you had to leave France because you guys were the modern day Bonnie and Clyde, and you robbed Pernod Ricard to start Irish whiskey auctions.
Oh, this is going to be cool.
So
Spin that bitch. Oh, seriously, dude.
Come on.
We're spinning. Hold on.
Fuck no, it's a lie. Oh.
we robbed the vineyard instead.
We robbed the vineyard instead. That's why Green Spot have this.
Excellent. Well, Anthony and Katie, it was so glad to spend 5 drinks or midnight with you. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Cheers.
Launch it, Tim, and thank you so much for having us, sweetie.
There you go. All right.